all we focus on is winning the next game. So we didn't get a chance to learn too much about how it goes and who votes for who and how do they place the rankings. All we wanted to do was go out and win games. But now that I'm looking back on it, I kind of like the BCS system a little bit better. I like the way they rank the teams, but the playoff system is great as well. I just like the BCS a little bit better. But playoffs is good. It gives teams a chance to play it out for the national championship. But I would like to see it go to at least a 16 playoff system, because there's some teams, some conferences that are being left out. It's always going to be a team that deserves the spot. So you don't always have that type of scrutiny with it. So if they're going to have a playoff system, might as well make it a playoff system.
Yep. I've been saying it since they started it. They should have went to 8 teams to begin with. You're not supposed to have a thing called the Power 5 conferences and leave one of them out. Or in this case, you'd be leaving 2 out because you're putting Notre Dame in there. So one of the other conferences is going to get left out because you're putting Notre Dame in there. You should go to an 8-team playoff system, put Notre Dame's butt in a conference, and then go at it. And every conference should have a title game. All your Big 5 conferences, they should have a title game. No matter how many teams are in it, you still can have a title game. And just do that. Make it where it's fair for everybody. Take the 5 conference champs and 3 at-large people. And then let them go at it.
I agree.
See how simple it is? We know it. Why can't them people figure it out?
Think money got to do something with it, maybe?
Instead, we're going to put Alabama and Notre Dame up there just because having Notre Dame and Alabama in there makes sense name-wise.
All right, well, let's transition into that and discuss the new playoff rankings that came out. And Kevin, I know you was very vocal about this. Steve was when I talked to him at work as well. The new rankings out: Clemson stay at number 1, Alabama moves up to number 2, Ohio State's number 3, Notre Dame's number 4. The first 2 out are Iowa and Baylor. The results of this week: Clemson beat FSU 23-13, Alabama beat LSU 30-16, Ohio State beat Minnesota 28-14, Notre Dame beat Pitt 42-30. Iowa beat Indiana 35-27, and Baylor beat Kansas State 31-24.
I mean, it's all about what have you done for me lately.
Right.
Beating Indiana shouldn't have shot Iowa from where they were at to number 5. You beat Indiana. Because now all of a sudden you're saying, okay, well, Alabama beat LSU, so we're going to boost them up. Didn't they lose to Ole Miss 4 weeks ago? If you look at all these one-loss teams and everything like that, they don't take into consideration the strength of their loss, if you know what I'm saying. Alabama, out of all the one-loss teams, probably has the worst one loss out of all of them, if you come to think about it. They lost to Ole Miss.
Right.
They lost to Ole Miss, who got bashed by another one-loss team, who in turn is at 11 after they won a ball game. So the system, to me right now, it's a popularity contest until all the other stuff gets straightened out. Baylor, the bad part of it is Baylor, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, one of those guys are going to get it. I have a feeling one of them are going to get it, ended up getting left out again. Just because.
Steve, your thought on the new rankings?
As much as I don't like Notre Dame, they don't belong in it. If I had to rank my top 4, it would be Clemson would obviously be number 1, and then, you may not agree with me, Kevin, but I do think Baylor should be number 2. They're not playing like a one-loss team right now. You know what I mean? When they beat LSU, they didn't look like a one-loss team.
But 2 weeks ago, did they look like a good one-loss team when they beat Tennessee 14-10?
Well, again, it's that I get what you're saying on that, but they're just not playing like it. You're going to have. I would keep Ohio at number 3, and then I would put Baylor at number 4. Notre Dame still wouldn't even be close to my top 5. You would have Baylor 4, Oklahoma State would be 5, Iowa would be 6, Stanford would be 7, LSU would be 8, and then Notre Dame would come in. And that's where they would be with me. So, I mean, that's my realistic top 4. I mean, you would still have Baylor. The outside looking at Oklahoma State. And what's going to be crazy with, the game against Oklahoma, Baylor-Oklahoma is going to set the tone. If Baylor can beat Oklahoma, I think you're going to see Baylor will be in the playoff. If they get past Oklahoma, they go. I think they can finish off the season strong and go undefeated. And there you go. Baylor finally going to get in.
Your thoughts on the rankings there, Darryl?
I agree. In regards to Baylor, I think if Baylor wins out, they'll be in the playoff system. I mean, they'll be in the top 4. They have to win out. I think it'll end up being Clemson, Ohio State, Baylor, and I don't know if it'll be Notre Dame or I don't know. I want to say Alabama, but Notre Dame and Alabama. It depends.
Okay. All right.
Here's a scenario. What if Florida runs the table?
Yeah, that's a good scenario.
Is Florida going to make it in?
I could see them get. It would be almost one of those things where they'd be on the outside looking in, and they could jump in last minute. And then and you may not agree with this too. Michigan, people are in Michigan still even being 2 loss. They could see it if they beat Ohio State. How far would they jump if they beat Ohio State? I mean, they're going to be in the top 10. If they win out, they're going to be in the top 10 when they get to Ohio State. They beat Ohio State. How much do they jump? And then they go to the Big Ten championship game. They win that. How much they jump then? So realistically, that Florida and Michigan are still the dark horses because they're still in the Power 5. So a lot can happen. But that Florida, I think Florida. I'll say it today. I think Florida could beat anybody on a neutral field.
Oh yeah,
it's just their offense is what worries me a little bit.
Well, their offense is shaky, but that defense is by far one of the best in the country, if not the best in the country. Mm-hmm. And I'm being biased as I'll get out. I don't care. I've watched them, and my eye test says that they could probably stop anybody, even though they had their struggles against LSU with guys falling down and everything. LSU still had to use a fake field goal to beat Florida. They still had to use that fake field goal to beat Florida. If that wasn't in right now, Florida would probably be ranked in the top 6 if they would have beat LSU.
Mm-hmm. You look at Oklahoma State too. They got a run here. They got
Oklahoma State has the most impressive win out of everybody right now when they beat TCU.
Oh yeah,
they had the most impressive win and didn't go up any. They didn't go up to where they should go up to.
Yeah, they moved up 6, but that was.
But they still went to number 8. They were ranked that low to begin with, and they moved up to number 8.
They control their own destiny too because they got Baylor and Oklahoma.
Well, the Big 12 went smart this year, and they backed in. They backed into all their games. I think they did it on purpose this year to where they put all the strong games at the end of it. That way they go, hey, the last impression we want people to see of our best team is them beating our other best teams. So I agree with what they've done wholeheartedly.
That's smart.
I know you're thinking the same thing, Darryl. They had to be able to do something to go, hey, if we back in all of our good games at the end of the year, that's what's going to leave a lasting impression on the people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to ask you because who is your? Because I know you said you disagree with these rankings. Your personal top 4 and in the first 2 out.
My personal top 4: Clemson, Notre Dame, Baylor, Oklahoma State. You want to know why? There's zeros next to their names. They are zeros next to their names. When you don't lose a ball game, you deserve to be in the top 4. When you start losing ball games, that's when we have to decipher which one had the best loss, which one had the worst loss, and we go from there.
Right.
But when you have not lost a ball game, you should be put in there. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I take wins and losses differently than other people. I've seen Alabama struggle against Tennessee. I've seen Alabama struggle against Ole Miss. Ole Miss was beating the tar out of Alabama for the first whole half of that game. They were beating Alabama senseless. It took a quarterback change and a comeback to make it where they actually got close to that game because that game was nowhere near being close. In 2 weeks after that game, what happens? Ole Miss goes to Florida and gets the living dog mess kicked out of them. But that's what I'm saying. I judge things by what I see in person. I don't think Alabama's that good because I don't think Alabama has a steady quarterback. They got a great running game, but when you run into a defense that can shut down said running game, what are they going to do after that?
Right.
Now, what was your? You weren't impressed with them beating LSU and shutting Fournette
down?
No,
I wasn't impressed with them beating LSU. They done what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to beat FSU. They've got the worst loss of anybody in the top 10. They got the worst loss. If you look at it, Alabama has the worst loss in the top 10. Agree or disagree?
I agree. Yeah.
With everybody that is lost, when you look at it, they look like they have the worst loss out of everybody in the top 10.
Steve, you want to add?
I don't know where Steve is.
He's here.
I'm here. I got to drop it. I'm back on.
We keep dropping Steve.
I know. Jeez.
Your connection is horrible, son.
Wait, hold on. This is what I want to... Darryl, when you watch... I don't know if you've watched some of the other ball games besides the Big 12 games and the Big 10 game, but when you watch these games, do you see certain teams that stand out even more than others?
I don't get a chance to watch too much. I'm still working on rehabbing. That consumes most of my days. But I guess the team that I really was starting to root for and starting to like was LSU. I thought they were playing really good football. But other than that, I don't really get a chance to see too many other games. I see Michigan and Baylor because they're sitting on my DVR, so if I miss it, then I can watch it that way.
Now, this is always a question. When you watch games, do you find yourself looking at it and be like, no, go that way, no, do this. Oh, you should have ran this when you ran that. Do you yell at the TV like you're actually playing the ball game?
I definitely do.
See, there you go.
The first game, Michigan played Utah, and everybody blamed Rudolph for all those overthrows and all those barely missed deep balls that we had. And I knew what the real cause was. And, of course, I'm critical on receivers anyway, but I felt the receivers should have done something different in the route. And, I'm analyzing it deeper than what the normal audience is. So I yell at the TV, I yell at second guys. And when I watch Baylor, I was in the offense. All my coaches are still there. So yeah. I know all the plays that are being called. So I know exactly what's supposed to happen.
What was the longest play call that you had at Baylor when they would read out a play? What was the longest one that you've heard?
Baylor is all signal, so we didn't have.
Y'all had the signs on the sideline, right?
Yeah, we had the signs and the signals and stuff, and Michigan was pretty much the same thing with the Coach Rod. But the longest signals I didn't start getting those until I got to the pros. So that was the only hard one.
Scat back 32 right, Z slant. Pickle wiggle.
Oh man, geez, my first day when we got our playbook, I didn't know what to do. It was just a huge book full of a different language. I didn't know what was.
And the best part is that you watch an NFL game and it's like they're running the same 6 plays over and over again. You're like, why you got this big old book when you run the same 6 play?
Right.
That's great.
But,
okay, what was the dumbest thing they put on one of the signs to signal in a signal at Baylor or Michigan?
On one of the signs?
Yeah.
It would have to be an opponent that I was playing. We were playing against we were playing against Texas Tech. And they had it was a picture of like a dancing like leprechaun, but it was like a dirty leprechaun, like he had just got rained on. So I didn't know if the player was like dirty leprechaun left or something. I didn't know what it was. It was funny.
It was a dirty Sanchez.
It wasn't a clean leprechaun like a clean one. It was a dirty one.
Oh gosh!
It was dirty Sanchez left.
Yeah,
that's
it was a dirty leprechaun.
Dirty leprechaun.
And it was on the left side of the play call, so I was like, "This must be like dirty leprechaun left."
That's amazing. That's amazing. Because I'll watch the games to see what's on the signs.
Yeah.
Like I watch them, I'm like, okay, they got Captain America, Pigpen, whoever that is on the top, and some lady with her boob popping out on the bottom.
But the thing is, the coaches give the players the option to pick what they want to be put on the card, so we can help us remember it. So they'll let us pick what's going on. So the fact that those players picked the dirty
leprechaun, that's amazing.
That is great. Oh man,
that's pretty good. Dirty leprechaun story.
All right.
Ow, shit.
Steve, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, buddy.
All right, man. Just making sure you didn't lose your connection again, boss.
Oh no.
All right, man. Give me some. Hey, give the people some games to keep an eye on this week, man. I mean, I already know we got the main one here since we got a guest from a certain team on there. We already know that. We all can agree that game is going to be the game.